Alright guys, it's been a long time since I filmed on this channel. I really feel like I needed to take a break to be able to figure out some things in my own life, some relationship things, spiritual things, and just be able to focus on God and my direction and where I'm headed. I wanted to make sure, and I think it's important sometimes, that you make sure you are following Jesus, you are headed in the right direction, you feel close and secure with your faith in God before sharing about Him. You know, sometimes we're not healthy enough, maybe spiritually or mentally at the moment, to do that. But I am ready to get back into it. I'm ready to use what God has given me to share to the world. And been going through some different seasons recently. Put on my heart to talk about love today and what that looks like specifically in relationships. So today we're going to dig into 1 Corinthians 13. A lot of people have heard that before, but we're going to break it down and talk about what love is according to the Bible versus what love is according to the world. First thing, before I get into the verses, the world's definition of love is so dangerous, and I want you guys to be careful that you don't fall into the same trap. So often we hear, I haven't found the one yet, or I just fell out of love and it wasn't working. I just want to tell you right now that whether it's love for a relationship, whether it's love for a family member, there are ways that God asks you to protect yourself. But when it comes to maybe effort, when it comes to trust, to loyalty, to those sort of things, there's an answer for all of that in the Bible. A lot of times in the world, when those things don't go our way, when we don't get the trust that we want, when we don't get the loyalty that we want, when we don't get the effort that we want back or that we're not willing to give, we say, oh, this ain't right for me, I'm gone. God never said relationships were going to be easy, but I will say this: love is no different for a family member, for your God, or for a relationship. And so when I say that, I say just walking away sometimes, giving up sometimes when things might get difficult. If God did that every time that we turned around and turned away from Him, or if we did that every time that God didn't fulfill or give us the blessing or the thing that we wanted and we've been praying for, then where would we be today? But what we understand is that He's got a plan so much greater than ours. Sometimes we forget that. The way He works is something we could not fathom, yet we sit here and we try and get down to the T everything that we're asking for. And God, if you can't deliver this to me, well then, can I trust you? And I've been stuck in that place. And so I want to talk about that today. You know, recently, just going through some difficult relationship stuff, found myself in a place where I was now on my own as far as a relationship goes. I found myself comforted by so many people. My family was always around me. I saw God put friends into my life that not just that I wanted, but ones that He knew I needed. And they came at the perfect time. And it's things like that where you sit there and you look up at God at the end of the day or in the middle of the day, and you're like, you knew it before I knew it. Sometimes it's like the prayer shouldn't even be, you know what I want, I'm praying that you're able to deliver that to me. It should be, you know what I need better than I know what I need, so I'm praying that you show me what that looks like. And so I have some great friends right now, that godly friends, people that can build me up in my life, and I can do the same for them. And it's quite a blessing. Now, I got to a place where I'm thinking to myself, God, how am I going to find this girl that I'm going to be with for the rest of my life? Who is this woman going to be? Everywhere I was just thinking about it. Like, how are they going to come to me? Am I going to have to go out of my way to find them? Where do I need to be in order for this to happen? And I got so caught up in that. And I finally just remember taking a step back, kind of getting to a point where I'm like, this is too much to worry about. You know, and I had these friends, so I was just enjoying time with them, just building up my relationship with God and being able to have fellowship with people that were doing the same. And I lost all of that desire to try and do that myself. When I did that, God moved. Okay, and that is the coolest part about it, is the moment that I sat there and just acknowledged, and I told God, like, yeah, I get it. You're proving a great point. I can't find her. I can't find the desire that I want. I can't find the blessing that I'm looking for. Only you can provide that, and I'm going to trust that you're going to do it at the right time. So I stopped worrying about that. Instead, I started focusing on the blessings that he had already given me. I'm like, why would God give me someone else? Why would he even give me someone like that if I'm not appreciating what he's already given me? And so the moment that clicked, I was like, God, you're so right. Like, I don't deserve anything around me, but you still provided. And so the moment that happened, I became so grateful and thankful for those things. And I started putting so much time into that and realizing that that was a blessing from God. And it was like he was loaning it to me, because I know he can take anything back. He gives and he takes away. But I trusted in the fact that it was in my life at that moment for a reason, so I took advantage of all these things. And while I'm doing that, in a way that doesn't make sense to me still, in a way that I never would have dreamed, someone came into my life. And from the get-go, the whole story, you can tell that God was at the center. And as it progressed over the past few weeks, I know every time that I'm praying to God and I'm asking him, is this it? I can feel that warmth. I can feel it through the relationship that's building and through this person. And so today, I don't know where you are as far as relationship goes, but it doesn't just have to be about relationships. This can be about relationships with family members. This can be about friendships. This can be about anything. I want you to plug it into your life in a situation where you need it. And hopefully this can be a blessing to you in your life right now. We're going to go into 1 Corinthians 13. Love is the greatest. If I could speak all the languages of earth and of the angels, but didn't love others, I would only be a noisy gong or a clanging cymbal. If I had the gift of prophecy, and if I understood all of God's secret plans and possessed all knowledge, and if I had such faith that I could move mountains, but didn't love others, I would be nothing. If I gave everything I have to the poor and even sacrificed my body, I could boast about it, but if I didn't love others, I would have gained nothing. Love is patient and kind. Love is not jealous or boastful or proud or rude. It does not demand its own way. It is not irritable, and it keeps no record of being wrong. It does not rejoice about injustice, but rejoices whenever the truth wins out. Love never gives up, never loses faith, is always hopeful, and endures through every circumstance. Now, never gives up. That's what I'm talking about. Where in the world, they base their love off of these movies. Like, they're going to be mad at each other. They're not going to get along. They're going to realize that they're perfect for each other. They're going to start to get closer. One might turn away. They come back together. And happily ever after, it finishes perfectly. The movie finishes perfectly. But did what happened in the movie honor God? And what exactly in the future, let's just say that the movie continued, what happens to that relationship when the movie turns off? What happens? You know? And so many times, I mean, let's be honest, sometimes we do look at movies and we're like, oh, that looks perfect. I mean, we try and base our life off of it. This is the love story that I adore. And then when we get into it, we're like, man, this isn't that movie. This doesn't feel right. It's not perfect. It doesn't give me the butterflies that I felt when I watched this movie or when I heard this story or when I read that book. But that's not the point. Love is never that easy. Love is going to mess up, and that's why he explicitly talks about it in this way. And now there are obviously situations I've even been in where you can tell God is telling you, this is not for you. You're not in the right position right now to be in this. Or God is pulling you out because he's got better plans for you. But if you and your partner are both evenly yoked and reading this and trying your best as sinners to live by this, your relationship will not struggle as much. Prophecy and speaking in unknown languages and special knowledge will become useless, but love will last forever. Now our knowledge is partial and incomplete, and even the gift of prophecy reveals only part of the whole picture. But when the time of perfection comes, these partial things will become useless. When I was a child, I spoke and thought and reasoned as a child. But when I grew up, I put away childish things. Now we see things imperfectly, like puzzling reflections in a mirror. But then we will see everything with perfect clarity. All that I know now is partial and incomplete. But then I will know everything completely, just as God now knows me completely. 3 things will last forever: faith, hope, and love. And the greatest of these is love. In a relationship context, I want to bring this over to a little bit of a metaphor. So many times I've explained this to people because Alex Eubank, someone I watch, talked about it one time in one of his videos, and I love it. It means so much to me. So I explain to people, I say, picture this. Well, today I'm going to show you what it would look like. These are 2 people coming into a relationship together. Got the man and the woman here, both coming with what they have to offer. And not just that, but their identity, what they love, what they care about, their passions, all of this stuff. This is who they are now up to a point. And right now, metaphorically, they are even in what they have. As a relationship goes on, we know that the whole point of a relationship is to live life together, to pursue God together, to pursue a God-fearing relationship together. If not, if they were already filled all the way to the top, then they wouldn't need each other. But their goal is not to always fill up to the top. If that was the case, then they could go and fill themselves up another way, and they could be selfish. So let's just, for instance, say this is the woman and this is the man. And the man, he goes out to do something sweet for her, right? Let's just say that he takes her on a nice date, he gets her some flowers, okay? So he pours into her. Now, this one lady, let's just say, and by the way, this can go both ways, and I've seen it go both ways, but this lady here, she loves the way that felt. It makes her feel good inside. And so instead of thinking, oh wow, he looks a little bit more empty than I do now, she enjoys what she has now. She enjoys what it felt like to be pursued. So she says, well, of course he's got more. So today he is going to come and make me dinner. He makes her dinner. She loves the way that feels. And like I said, this can go both ways. This can be the man over here soaking up from the woman, and I've seen that as well. But let's just say this continues to go this way. He's sitting over here. He is absolutely in love with this girl, and she's in love with him. But why are they in love with each other? Well, he's in love because he might get maybe some recognition for what he did. She's in love with him because, well, look how much he's fulfilling her. Look at how much he's able to do for her. So she just keeps soaking it up and keeps soaking it up. And he is running out and he is running out. And all of a sudden, she is overflowing with everything that she could possibly imagine that she wants. Now, what looks wrong with this picture? He has nothing left to give. Nothing. She's got it all. She's got more. There's some down here on the tray. This is what happens in relationships sometimes. One person just loves, maybe it's past experiences, maybe it's trauma, maybe it's something with them growing up, anything, bad experiences. They love the attention. They love what someone else can do for them. That's what they think a relationship is about. This person also might have some trauma, not feeling like they're ever good enough, not understanding their worth, not valuing and loving themselves the way Jesus asked them to. Here we have a sticky situation now. She's expecting more. He has nothing left to give. So she could possibly make him feel bad for that. Or he could also just drain himself like he did and not have anything left to give and realize he has to walk away now because he's not good enough. This is so important, guys. This is why what I just read in 1 Corinthians is not a one-way street. This is something that goes both ways. And in Proverbs, which I'll probably make another video, Proverbs is great at explaining what God asks us to be as a man or a woman for the other person in a relationship. And they're different. Man and woman are not the same. They're not. They never were. God calls us to be different, to make different impacts in our lives. So here in this situation, what a healthy relationship would look like. Let's give him some water again. There's so many different things. I mean, every relationship's differently, and they can all still honor God. But let's just say for one, this girl right here, she makes her man breakfast, okay? So she does that for him. Out of the kindness of her heart, she loves to do it. She wants to do it. She does that for him. And his response is he loves the fact that she did that for him. But all he can think about is not just, that made me satisfied. He was thinking, now what can I do for her? I'm going to come to her and I'm going to thank her and I'm going to say, I really appreciate who you are as a person. I love you. And I want you to realize that what you do doesn't go unnoticed. So I'm going to take you later on a date. Would you like to go bowling? And he does that, and look, I'm not saying that it's got to go back and forth like that. Sometimes it takes a whole lot of this sometimes, just because of the season or because maybe he's struggling, but he knows that one day he might need to pour back into her a little bit more to help strengthen the relationship, to make sure that he's not draining her. Sometimes we just drain the other person. We just suck it up. We love it. Sometimes we're a giver, and that's all we want. It makes us feel good. But then we start to realize we're out of it. We have no more left to give, and we're sitting here like, what am I going to do now? And it's because this other person wasn't willing to put in maybe some effort, or maybe show some affection, maybe commit to loyalty, and that sort of thing. So guys, this can go so many different ways, but I want you to understand there's two cups here, and they both have to help keep each other filled. It's not one cup's job to fill the other, and vice versa. And where do we get that? Now that's the question. Where do we get that? Where do we get that sense of we don't just suck it up from someone else? Well, for one, Jesus' love is the greatest, right? And us who know what he did on the cross for us, it's so important. And sometimes, I mean, all the time, we're just like, I don't deserve that. I don't deserve that kind of act of love, but yet he did it anyway. And he would do it again in a heartbeat. And as Christians, very similar to that relationship, let's just say, for example, we were one cup, Jesus was the other, and you saw the sacrifice he made for us. Might have been small to him, but to us, it filled our cup completely. It overflowed our cup completely. And sometimes as Christians, we can walk away with that cup. We can say, well, look at what he did for us. His blood was shed for me. He saved me from hell. And now I can walk on with that. And I can take it, and I can walk away, and I can go live it up, and I can go pursue whoever I want, and I can go do the things that I enjoy doing here on earth. Or we can return the love. And I promise you, no matter who you are, there's no way you could ever compete with the love of Jesus. It's too strong. But what you can do is give him the love that you have. Give him that priority as number one in your life. Pour some of what you have, what he's blessed you with. We think about the blessings that he's given us. He's already given it to us. He didn't have to. Take some of those. Take all of those. Build your life around him. Pour some into him. Worship him. Love him for what he did for you. So many times we can be that greedy person, just like in the relationship, and we can say, thank you for all this stuff. Now I'm going to go back home and do whatever now. But I appreciate it. I mean, it means a lot. You're showing your love every day. Are we, though? And so I think that they go hand in hand. If you take away anything from this video, for one, God's timing is better than yours. Have faith in those situations where you hit rock bottom, you're frustrated, you're upset, and you don't know what to do about it. That's the point. Sometimes we need to realize God put us there for a reason, so that we had to look up, so that we had to look at him. But when God's doing that, when he's putting you through those seasons, when he's putting you through those trials, where he's not exactly fulfilling what you're asking for, just realize that, well, maybe there's something I need to get right in my life with the inventory I have before he's willing to put that in my life. Or if it's even it should be a part of my life in the first place. 2, love is the greatest. Love is the greatest. True love is the greatest. Agape love that you don't deserve, but Jesus, God gives it to you anyways. That is true love, okay? It's not, you did not do what I asked you to do this morning or today, so I don't love you today, or I'm going to have trouble loving you today. Love is a choice. Love is a choice. These are all choices in that 1 Corinthians. Things that you can go one way or the other. It's a choice you have to make. It's not a feeling, okay? Feelings we know come from the heart. We know that the Bible promises that the heart above all things is the most deceitful. Jesus doesn't say to follow your heart. He says to follow me. And one way we can do that, one great way we can do that, is to follow this. So that's number 2. Love is the greatest. And 3, I just want it to be a reminder that no matter what season you're in right now, no matter if you're in a relationship, if you're struggling with a family member, whatever it is, realize that sometimes you might need to identify what cup you are. Realize, am I just taking in so much? Or am I giving too much? Am I draining myself so much that I can't even worship God now? I can't even focus and put my time into the Lord because this relationship is so draining and unhealthy for me. So, recognize what cup you are, pray about that, and get some guidance from this special book right here. I pray that this video reaches the right people and it has an impact on your life. I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace.